2 weeks in a row now, Mac has not finished the game. Now they've been blowouts, so whether they just taken out their starter or not, but Bailey Zappi's come in and kind of finished the game. Is there, obviously Bill's not saying anything, but is there any rumblings around the building of potentially Mac losing the starting job?
Great question. Great question. I think, listen, what Bill has said is Bill has said that he's sticking with Mac, that he's the one. I think everybody across the league looks at it and says, well, they're going to be doing something. What is it that they're going to be doing? Because Bill Belichick is coming off maybe the 2 worst losses of his career in back-to-back weeks. The offense has been inept. It has not gotten the job done. So you know that they're not going to stand pat, that they're going to be doing something. So the question is, what is that? And Bill has said that he's standing behind the quarterback for now. We've heard other head coaches say similar things before, only to go a different route during the week.
No.
So let's see where that goes. But look, I think it's fair to say that when they play the Las Vegas Raiders this week, that the offense isn't going to look the same. What that means, we'll find out as the week evolves. But
put it on the SeatGeek ticker. Wow. Put it on the SeatGeek. It's fair to say.
What are we putting on there?
Now, your words, Schefter. We didn't type,
quote unquote.
We didn't type these up. It's fair to say that when the Patriots
offense will not look the same.
Okay.
Breaking news.
You bringing the Wildcat back?
Yeah, that's what.
Malik Cunningham.
Yeah, out of Louisville, undefeated right now.
Yep. Wow.
Forgetting a lot going in the Cards' way.
Put him in.
Whoa, Schefter alluded to that.
It's time.
That's what. Let's
it might be Scott Zolak back there. We don't
know.
No
Put
thanks.
it on a SeatGeek ticker. Let's stay in New England though, because there's a much bigger storyline than just the quarterback. You know, it feels like Patriots fans are past the point of blindly supporting Bill Belichick in everything Bill Belichick does. Obviously, the last 2 weeks, not great news. Then Bill Belichick goes on the Greg Hill show this morning, and this is what he answers whenever he's asked about whether or not his message is still landing with the team.
Bill, so Greg asked you at the start, restarting, that's what you said yesterday. Why are you the right person to restart this organization with right now?
Yeah, well, I'm going to do the best I can to help our football team. That's my job.
Do you find that your message is landing, or there's things that you need to change? Because the 38-3 loss was your worst that you'd ever had in 500 starts. And this week it appears that there wasn't that urgency to reclaim what the team's identity was.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do the best I can to help the team.
Yes. Okay, so on the Greg Hill show there, he's given his press conference answers. Normally, the Greg Hill show is where he's a little bit more of a human. Back-to-back blowouts, bad weeks, especially at home. Is there a thought here that this is Bill's last ride, or how would that work out? And who would be, because he's GM, he's coach. Is there a time where maybe he's no longer coach and he's just GM? How do you see the transition period going, and has that even been talked about?
Yeah, here's what I would say. You're raising valid questions that I don't know that anybody can answer right now, right? Everybody could see what's happening there. Nobody knows exactly where it's going to go and what's going to happen from there. But again, just like we're talking about the offense and there being potential changes, you have to wonder what the long-term fallout will be when the team plays the way it has, when the relationship, which has been an historic, decorated, illustrious relationship, has gone on as long as it has. Every relationship at some point in time, coaching, not everyone, but most everyone, runs its course at some point in time. And so people now are wondering about that in the New England area. It's fair. I don't think anybody, Bill, the Crafts, the people around the organization, could answer how it's going to come up. But the fact that you're asking about it, people are talking about it, that it's coming up, that in and of itself tells you that it's a question that people are going to be paying attention to, that we'll have to see how that gets answered over the course of the coming season, right? Like, the fact that you're asking me about arguably the greatest coach in NFL history
and GM
and his time in New England coming to an end, that's coming up, that to me is notable.
So I think, okay, great answer there. Really, that was like a Roger Goodell-esque answer. That was phenomenal. We got real answers in
But he
there.
uses his hands really well. He's better than I do.
Yeah, we got real answer. You gave us some real stuff, but also we don't know at this stage.
Well, but who does? Nobody knows.
You would be the guy that would know, if anybody. So that's what we're saying, though. It sounds like. But is there a thought, maybe? Because I think he's the greatest coach in history. But nobody's ever talked about him being the greatest GM in history as well, which that needs to be talked about more because he's the one who's piecing these teams together that went on to be the greatest dynasty in the history of the league. Is there a chance that, hey, Bill, just GM and let somebody else coach? Because that would be Greg Hill's messaging, hey, you're not reaching this team seemingly anymore. That would almost be a way to almost slow roll the inevitable potentially. I just didn't know if that had been get brought up or not.
Well, I think they're going to have to sit down and talk about how they want to handle this, both sides, right? But Bill Belichick, the coach, his record is undeniable. And Bill Belichick, the GM, in recent years, you look at the drafting record, it's more questionable. And that's where some of these issues arise today. And so they're going to have to figure out how they want to handle that going forward. But again, the fact that you're bringing it up and people are going to talk about it, and it's going to be this topic that's not going to go away anytime soon, unless they start ripping off wins that look unlikely, that becomes something that, like you said, the greatest coach in football history. You're asking about his future. We're talking about his future.
Yeah.
That is notable.
I think so, too.